Hey, what's up, everyone? I just recently watched the new animated movie on Netflix, Intergalactic by Kid Cudi. Now, two things before I get into the full review. First, I'm not a Kid Cudi fan. I don't even know what the dude looks like. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I don't think I've ever listened to a single song that he's made, and if I have, it probably played on the radio or a friend of mine played it, and I just didn't know it was him, nor did I care to even look into it. So I'm not reviewing this as a fan of his that has moved on to his work as a movie and film creator. I am just more watching this because I saw the trailer for the movie and I had no idea what it was going to be about, but I knew it looked immaculate from the animation and I definitely had to check it out. The second thing would be I thought this was going to be a show. I have no idea why, probably because it's animated, so I immediately assumed it was going to be a TV show instead of a movie, which ended up being disappointing to me because I ended up liking this movie and I wanted more of it. So, that being said, let's get into the nitty gritty of this review. As I just briefly mentioned, I really like this movie. I love this movie. It is so great. It is a true adult romance story made in animation. I am very happy to see this done because honestly, I enjoyed this more than seeing your typical live action romance because they were able to do a lot of unique and beautiful things with the visuals. And I could see this being an argument that someone would have had over the film is that the visuals are kind of just nonsensical. There's a lot of exaggerated things that are shown, but personally, I don't think that's really the case. I felt like all the visuals fit in with the established status quo of the characters and everything that was going on in the movie. There's also a lot of montage sequences that someone could say is like, oh, they're just extended music videos to promote this guy's music. And I don't really think so because all of the montage sequences were used to accentuate your familiarity with the characters. Because, as I mentioned, this movie is only like an hour and 30 plus minutes long. So it's fairly short, and they needed to get you ingrained with the characters and feel like you know them, you're connected with them. And those montage sequences really do help that. It explores the relationship that you see the main character Jabari and his love interest Meadow form over the course of the movie, so much so to the fact that when someone points out how much time has passed from when the movie starts to where we are in the moment that they say that, it's only been a month. I thought like months had passed given how much information I was able to take in through the visuals of this movie. Same thing with his friends. I really feel like Jabari and his boys are really close because they showcase that even in dialogue-less montage. So I really did love the way they told the story through the visuals. It's very much a show, don't tell kind of movie, and I really do love that. Now, that being said, it definitely doesn't just do that exclusively. There are scenes with dialogue. Obviously, it's not a silent film, so they do express how they communicate with each other, and I really believe that the dialogue in this movie is fantastic. Everyone in this movie feels like a real person. Like Jabari's friends, I have friends like his friends. Like, I have that one friend that's wacky and crazy and does things, and you're just like, how did you get yourself in this situation? I could relate to that. And it really felt real and natural and grounded without me being like, man, I'm bored. If I wanted to live my life, I would have just lived my life instead of watching a movie. I came here to escape from such things. It never really felt like that. Everything really felt like it was constructed to entertain you and keep it grounded in its own reality of sorts, which I really think works very well in this kind of setting because, it's a romance story at the end of the day. You want to see the romance unfold, but at the same time, it's like you're supposed to relate to it because you're also an adult, or at least me. I'm, around the same age as the characters in the movie, so I kind of get what's going on with them and I can empathize with the things that they're going through, and it's pretty cool. I really enjoy that. And even if you are older or younger, I feel like if you do watch this movie, you'll definitely have that same level of love and connection and relatability with the characters. Now, as for the female characters in the movie, I don't really have that many female friends, so I can't speak for how they are portrayed in the movie. Just, I know on a personal level from other movies that I've seen, they don't feel written out of character. Like, nothing they said really pulled me out of the movie and made me go, there is no way a single person on this planet would actually talk like that. I'm looking at you, boo bitch. God, you suck. I never felt like any of these characters really were out of touch. And something I really did love about the writing is that Jabari has an ex in the movie, that being the character of Carmen. and they do not portray her as being a terrible person, which is kind of a trope that happens in romance movies all the time. Take like the movie Tall Girl, is that Jodie's antagonist and rival in the movie was her pseudo bully Kimmy, and those two didn't really get along very well, and Kimmy was portrayed to be a bad person, which made you want Jodie to get Kimmy's boyfriend from her, as messed up as that sounds. But in this movie, Carmen doesn't feel like a terrible person. You just kind of get the feeling that her and Jabari don't really work well together, just through like subtle indications through the dialogue that they exchange with each other. And it makes sense, you know? You don't want her to have horrible things happen to her, but you also feel like, you know, I don't think this relationship is really the best for either of you. It doesn't seem like the two of you really vibe together very well. And I really did enjoy the fact that they went with that kind of take instead of just, you know, going with the simple route of like, no, she bad, Meadow good, so you want him to end up with it. You know, it wasn't like that in the slightest bit. And I really think that this movie is very much a co-lead kind of situation. I never truly felt like Jabari was the single protagonist, because Meadow gets tons of screen time, and although she shows up after him in the movie, which would lead you to think that Jabari is just the sole main character, you get as much of an introduction to her world and her friends and her life as you do Jabari, so you feel a level of connection with the both of them, so you want the two of them to work things out, to end up together, because you feel like they deserve it and that they should be together. And at the end of the day, I think they did a fantastic job with this. If this team ends up making another movie, I'll definitely be interested in checking it out. So yeah, I think that's really about it. Definitely go check out Intergalactic on Netflix. You know, it's there. It's easy access. I highly recommend checking it out. I love it. Prove to those idiots out there that animation is just for kids are completely wrong. And I guess one last thing that'll probably hook anyone else that hasn't seen it, the animation style is very reminiscent of Arcane. And I know Arcane blew up everywhere worldwide. So most people have either seen Arcane or they know of it and they've seen it. And this animation is very similar to it. It stutters a little bit in comparison to how fluid Arcane's animation is, but it was never really something that truly pulled me out of the movie because it made up for it in all of the other aspects of it. So that'll be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And last but most certainly not least, I am the innocent villain. And remember, folks, you're innocent to prove villainous, and I'll catch you in the next one.